I got to get my drink ready.
Jesus, me too.
Well, you guys are already talking. We haven't even gotten the high sign cue from Grant. Now we're already rocking. So, I was hoping for something that's a little more of an official start to the Mortgages and BS show live at Kieran's, but that's okay. We're just going to stumble our way into every show like we do every week anyhow. So what the heck?
BT, hold on a minute.
Tom's got the sip in the background. You can't hear it as much as when we're in the studio, but the certainly works well. Mahoney's got a little bit of great background music going on for us here.
Awesome.
You can hear the crowd in the background. We are jamming already here. Life is good at Kieran's in downtown Minneapolis.
I think Mahoney hears music in his head all the time, kind of like my wife does. She just walks along with a song in her head.
Does she hum them? Sing them out loud?
She sings them out loud.
Yeah, does she?
Yeah.
With the lyrics, too? Or
she makes up her own lyrics.
I love that. Well, Timmy's good at that as well.
I was trying to get Denise to come down here today to check it out, because she hasn't come to one of these yet, right? She went to Kohl's shopping instead.
Were they having a sale there? What a surprise.
She thinks they are. She thinks they are, yeah. 70% off, honey. There's a 70% off rack.
They're always 70% off. So as I mentioned, Mahoney's doing some guitar. That's our good friend Tim Mahoney with his guitar in the background. How are you,
so
buddy?
Much. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me down at Kieran's Irish Pub. It's been a while since I've been a guest. I believe I was your first guest.
First guest.
This show apparently is called Mortgages and BS. But I believe they're going to be working on that name and making it better.
I think so. I think we're going to give it a little more pizzazz, a little more zip, a little more zoom.
Two guys and a beer.
I think the show has more potential, I think, than the name. I do. I like you guys.
I appreciate that.
And we have another Irish character with us today.
Yes,
which,
we do.
I already did ask her out, and she said no.
Okay.
I don't think I officially said no, did I?
Well,
actually, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
I was observing this whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just said you were married, so I kind of figured it was a no.
And then you asked a question of Claire Killen, something along the lines of, "Are you willing to explore other options?" But she didn't answer that.
She's also a second-timer here, Tim.
How about this? You tell us why you're here today.
Why, Tim, thank you for asking me. BT, thank you so much for having me here again.
Hey, what about me?
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith.
It is a grand. Do you know what I was thinking?
Why are you here
do you feel really bad that your wife's chosen Coles over you?
No, not really.
You should. You should.
Can we just have her talk most of the time?
I know,
it's so
the most delightful voice.
It is. It's like, wow, I love it.
What's funny is she texts and types like she talks. She's talking about blimey to me on this text the other night, and I'm a bugger and all this.
No, I did absolutely.
Yeah,
nice. He was being a rascal. But the other thing is, the more liquor I get into me, the faster I go. So I'm going to try and bring it.
Just keep a nice meter, a nice pace to what's happening there. Okay, good, very good.
Because you have to keep up, lads. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we will. We'll definitely keep up.
Definitely.
Here's what's happening during the course of the show here. Okay. Tim Mahoney's here. He's going to sing a couple of songs along the way. We appreciate that. Tim's got a new.
Does he have to?
Yeah, of course he does.
All right.
Tim's got a new Christmas record that he's working on with the great Robert Robertson. We're going to hear about that in just a minute. We're going to learn a little bit more about what's happening with Claire at the wonderful Emerald Real Estate company that she has. We're also going to do an edition of So You Want to Buy a House. That's coming up during the course of the show. Tom's got a little bit of info about the Fed and the markets and what's happening in that regard. Stuff. Claire is heading to Ireland, where a lot of the lasses sound just like her. So if you went there, Tim, you would be like pinging your head against the wall constantly. In the pub,
Tim,
you'd
you
be
could come with me next week.
You'd be falling in love every 5 seconds.
I feel like, but is it your husband going too?
No, I'm going on my own.
Oh,
well, I'm going to.
Then
so that old willing to explore option. See, this is a.
I have a connection at Delta. I get free flights
there
right
you
now.
Go. All right.
No, so I can go. Let's do it.
We're also doing the show in early December here.
I appreciate it.
So with Claire doing the trip to Ireland and Christmas on the way, we're going to learn about some traditions at the Smith household. What happens in Ireland when Claire goes
Smith
to visit?
Household too.
Yeah, we all have a Smith household.
No, I am Smith. My maiden name's Smith.
Is it really? Oh, nice.
I'll give you some traditions for later.
Very good.
That's why we get along so well.
There you go. Family background.
We're probably related at some point because my dad was Irish.
Oh, so there you go. Going back a ways.
We go back. I mean, there was something there.
I was going to tell him something about his family. He doesn't know that I know.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Dig up a little dirt while you're in Ireland.
They were blacksmiths.
dig up a little peaty dirt.
Can you not find out about my family?
Yeah, could you please not?
And give me zero information.
And then
because I know it's O'Mahony's over there. So,
is it really?
Yeah, that's the original
Oh, Mahoney.
Oh,
Yeah. It actually
Mahoney.
I thought that's what your girlfriend said.
yeah.
Oh, Mahoney.
No, well, you probably know. It just, I mean, a lot of them are called O'Mahoney. There are Mahonies too, but it just through the years, it did get changed a lot
Gotcha.
from American people. They just dropped the O for, but it's,
Well, probably at Ellis Island. You drop in
exactly
the O,
right.
get in,
Yep.
stamp,
Yep.
through you go.
my whole name is Timothy Martin Mahoney, and I always used to laugh because I told my mom, it sounds like a leprechaun.
Timothy Martin Mahoney.
And then when I first started playing music, I was always concerned that people were going to come to my shows thinking I really play full-on Irish music. And, I'm just a singer-songwriter. So I decided to stick with the name because my dad said if I didn't...
You're dead.
well, pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Got to keep the family tradition
Oh,
alive.
yeah, exactly.
It's when you get the Timothy Martin,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
you run like hell.
Well, that's
and you're right.
you know
when
why?
I heard that...
Because mom's
See?
calling you because you did
You're
something
so
wrong.
right on that. When I heard Timothy Martin, I was like, uh-oh.
Brian Michael Turner. When I heard that,
You're out of here.
I was vanished
Yeah.
that quickly.
You guys had it easy. I heard my mom with her German accent yelling,
Oh, that's right.
Thomas!
Thomas.
You talk about feeling in trouble and embarrassed at the same time. Thomas? Really,
Thomas.
Mom? Really,
Thanks,
Mom? You
Ma.
can't just call me Tom?
Tom. Thomas. Well, that again, the Thomas probably only when you were in trouble, though, right?
Oh, Thomas Michael. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
heard
sure.
it a few times over the years.
We're also going to find out on the show. We'll get a line in the sand drawn as to just how Irish is Tim Mahoney. I mean, we're got a little
Wow.
Q&A. We got a little Q&A, and when we get to that, we'll allow some coaching from Claire Killen. Okay, little Q&A.
We
on
already
that,
had a
but-
little pre-discussion, so we have a little
right.
stuff prepared even
All right.
that
sounds good.
we had in common.
Claire, Emerald, what's happening with the real estate group? Give us a little insight. How's sales been this year?
Oh, my goodness.
The whole specialty thing, with working with Irish expats. Of course, you got clients, from all across the board.
I do.
But,
I do.
how many? Let me ask you that question because it's a two-parter. How many Irish folks, kind of moved here that you may have known or didn't know, but they came to you because they're Irish and you're Irish, and the whole experience is there.
We talked earlier, my niche is certainly the Irish market, with having a connection to the pubs, Kieran's Irish Pub and the conglomerate. I certainly have connections here that people would consider themselves Irish, and some with merit, some not with merit. So actual people from Ireland, I've had more international, I've had Spanish buyers this year.
All right.
But again, it's when people move here, they're looking at what's different, and I can guide them as to, we don't have basements, we don't have, we talked about this the last time, but I mean, different aspects to real estate that they're not necessarily,
Sure.
used to back at home.
I want to hear her speak Spanish with an Irish
Irish accent. Yeah.
Si, senor.
Oh, there you go.
Had a little brogue there.
That is hilarious.
Well, and we talked about this last time. I mean, there's so many cultural differences when somebody moves here from another country or whatever. And we were talking about that, like with the basements and some of that kind of stuff, how, they're like, huh?
So why don't they have basements? I'm just coming in blind here. I don't.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Here you need it for frost because it gets so cold. So then they've decided instead of just doing a crawl space, you may as well go down and make use out of the space below it. So when you go to like Arizona and Florida and places like that, they don't have basements.
It's all slab on grade.
Huh.
And so that, I mean, it's truly, we have to for footings, but then as far as making use out of the space, you may as well just go a little bit extra and make it useful.
Right.
If you didn't go lower than 4 feet into the ground, or if you had a slab,
Okay.
then the ground would just move and heave because of the frost every winter, summer, winter, summer. So your house would just start buckling and crackling and falling apart. Now, what you're saying there is essentially you could put just footings in the ground that go below 4 feet, below the frost line,
Correct.
and then just build on top of that. But as long as you're doing that, just put some concrete and brick down there and make yourself a little basement space.
For very little less.
Little
than
rumpus
normal.
room.
I can tell you firsthand, too, with a slab on grade, when I first started in the business years ago, one of my first new constructions, I didn't know the difference, was a slab on grade home. We had the hardest time getting financing for it.
yeah.
Because,
I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. I mean,
Was it a double wide?
No, it wasn't a double wide. It was a regular built home up in Blaine. I could tell you who the builder was, but I won't.
That was
And
good.
But
I
did they
didn't- I
do
didn't
poured
know.
footings underneath that slab?
They must have.
They
because
must have,
They
yeah.
must have, because it was the only way I could think we could get financed. But
Sure.
but they'd find comps that were a slab on grade. It's like looking for something that's a dome home or geodesic home. I mean, you just don't find that stuff, and people don't understand or realize I mean, it's a cost savings for something like that.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you like your house to just stay there?
Yeah, you'd think you'd want it to just stay in one spot. It was moving and bucking. I grew up in Robbinsdale. We moved to Crystal when I was 15, and some of the houses in the neighborhood there had 2x2 wall construction. Fancy that. Not even just 2x4 walls.
Oh, my God.
I know. So think about how little insulation there was in
Oh,
there,
my
and
God.
just sort of the ricketiness, or you'd think it was. I mean, they were relatively solid houses, but
That sounds like a double wide.
no, but it was a regular home. But built in 1958. The codes were different,
Yeah.
and
My park
all
model's
that
got
kind of
more
stuff.
insulation than
I
that.
know, exactly. So
So
I love
yeah.
that aspect of it.
Yeah,
You
so
know, that it's not
Emerald-
just Irish folks.
Yeah.
For people from other countries, they know that things are going to be different, or they don't know,
Yeah.
and so you can help them sort through those things.
Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned the last time, but I've got a new office space at 50th and France.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, her office space is
Nice.
awesome.
It is. I
Good for you.
Total game changer. Absolutely. I
Must
love
be
it.
doing well, 15
Oh,
France.
50th in France. Oh, it's only 500 square feet, but it may as well be 5,000 square feet for what it means to me. It's,
Which building are you in there? Or where are you?
we're literally on 50th in France,
Northwest corner.
right above Paper Source.
Oh, sure, I know where you're at.
And
Yeah,
My sign is going up this week.
good for you.
Yeah, it's going to be lit. So there'll be another competitor across the street,
Yeah.
and then there'll be the Emerald
We won't
Green.
even mention their name.
Emerald
Of course not.
Green on my side, lit right above Paper Source. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, good for
Well,
you.
and where she's located is kind of cool because it's like a lot of boutique shops in that little area.
Yeah.
So to me, when I went down there to meet her after we did the show last time, I thought to myself, it gives the impression of a boutique real estate company, which kind of gives you a little more feel of you're going to be taken care of.
Totally.
Yeah, that's nice.
Emerald Green, real quick. How did you get the name? I mean, there's some obvious reasons I can see, but tell me about. I'm just curious the name.
With the Emerald. So when I moved to the United States, Ireland's still very important to me, and to be very, very honest with you, I feel having grown up in Northern Ireland, which we can get into or not, but having grown up there, I have the right to give back and the right to continue to make it look and feel what people feel that it should be or what it is to them.
Yeah.
And when I was trying to come up with a name, you want to try and do something that has a connection back to home.
Right.
And my dad, God rest him, he said he was so proud of me. He said, "I'm so proud of you keeping a piece of Ireland with you as part of what your business and who you are," because people go and reinvent themselves. They become who they want to be, and but who I am is still very much seated in Ireland.
And that's it. And that's the little question on that. When you're dealing with people, say when they're not from Ireland, and you're making deals or transactions. Of course, we did make fun of you. We're being fun about your accent, but more of on a serious
handle it.
way. Does it help, hurt, hinder, love it? I mean, I'm just because remember when you meet someone with a heavy accent, immediately I just wonder how that works in a business world when they're not from. How does that do
That's a
for you?
good question. I like
It is
that
a
one.
great question. I find that people have had such a good experience with Ireland, with the people from Ireland, that it actually has been more of a benefit than a detraction.
Right.
I'm smart enough to be able to manage my way through situations. If I feel it's going one way, my accent can get very neutral. And people will say, "Gosh, you don't sound like you're from Ireland." Well, that's when you've really pissed me off, or where I really am in a hyper professional environment that I can elevate myself up or down that ladder relative to
Yeah.
who I'm dealing with. And that's been a huge benefit to me is people haven't lived or not lived. Well, they say they live there when they're there for summer or winter.
But
or,
experienced.
Well, you think about how many people want to be Irish on St. Patty's Day, I think, which has helped.
Everybody.
I mean, to me,
Yes,
I mean,
we know
it's,
why we're laughing, but it's good.
I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like if you get into history at all, and you go back and you watch the older movies, or you think about history, Irish were some of the main initial settlers here, and so to me, it's a little Americana at the same point in time. And I love an accent myself. I mean, I don't care if it's Irish or Spanish or whatever. I love an
Just
accent.
something.
I grew up with it. My mom had a German accent till the day she passed away. I mean, I like it. I get a kick out of it.
But I think the Irish are very welcoming and inclusive because there's other cultures, and it just is, but there's other cultures that are not as kind. And so we've grown up with with adversity. We've grown up with hardship, and we know what it feels like to be on the ground and to be stood on, and that's not a good feeling. So when you get the sense that somebody's maybe feeling like that, you know how to turn it around and make it a really good and positive experience. And there's not a lot of people know how to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's part of the cultural narrative of the Irish people.
It is.
Americans like to get to know somebody really well before they invite them to their house.
I know. We've lived here 16 years.
Irish people like to invite people
and BT,
to their
and BT
house.
hasn't invited you over yet.
Never
has he?
been invited to BT's house.
Irish people like to invite people over to their house so they can get to know them really well.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I don't know if this is right, wrong, or different, but the O'Malley, dropping the O, and it came through Ellis Island, but
O'Malley and all of those.
the
Mahoney
Mahoney's
too.
and O'Malley's
Yeah.
and Max
Yep.
and
All
O's,
of them.
right?
Yep.
Because they would never give the Irish the opportunity to work. So the signs in the doors were no blacks nor paddies need apply. So then they changed their names. They didn't stop being who they were in here, but they had to adjust in order to survive.
Yeah, the cultural discrimination was huge.
You know,
Absolutely.
My sister-in-law spent a semester in Ireland back in the late 80s, early 90s. I wish I could remember when. She absolutely loved it. She fell in love with the country. She fell in love with the people. She thought it was just fantastic. Why is Mahoney rubbing my leg? Later, big boy, later.
But I mean, if it can make you break character.
I
But
just
she
want to
said-
make you feel comfortable.
She said the food,
He's a friendly
the
guy.
food, the people, and you and I talked about this that one time we went and had lunch. She goes, and she went to a bar and she ordered a pint. Women in Ireland don't drink pints,
No,
right,
they don't.
Claire? And so it was very unusual for her to drink a pint, and she'd hang out with the boys,
Sure.
and she'd be drinking
What
her
do they
pints.
drink?
Half pints.
Oh, they just don't drink that much.
Right.
Oh, the side.
We will drink that much, but
Just
we'll
not
do
that
it. We'll do it a little bit more
Right.
eloquently.
Yeah, in measured doses.
No,
I'm not really
we
sure.
have sophistication.
I'm actually not even sure. Like, is that a pint? Like, you can't see this now. This is an average glass at Kieran's, but is that about a pint?
That is actually a European pint. If you go to
European
other
pint.
establishments,
How many ounces is it technically a pint?
20 ounces. Thank you for asking. Otherwise, not here, but in other establishments, you will buy a pint, which is 16 ounces.
16 in American pints.
Trust
And
me,
then-
I know that math.
Another reason why the Irish pubs is a
That's
fantastic
right.
place to have a magnificent pint.
You're getting 4 extra ounces every pour.
Well, all I know is
like-
Be
my,
honest with it.
my sister-in-law put on 10 pounds that semester. She went over to Ireland between the beer and the food. She came home. She was
Oh, everything's
happy to
deep
come
fried.
home.
I feel like this show is becoming Irish and BS today.
Well, that's
right?
good.
That's
Hey,
okay.
no, just
And so
roll
now-
with it, Tim. Roll
I
with
know.
it.
I have one last question, though. Then you said the beer thing. So I'm drinking Jameson, and we're at Kieran's, and they have great selection here, of course, all the way up from the average one. Do people drink a lot? You said pints a lot, but do they actually drink a lot of the Irish whiskey there? Because I've heard one good question is I've heard Jameson is not necessarily the one that they drink a lot over there. Is it? And tell me
Jack
if I'm right. Is it
Daniels.
Bushmills or Powers or something? And yeah, answer that.
We
if you can.
have a whole
I know.
reel full of different
know.
types of whiskey that we can't get here in the United States. So there's be ones that we would be very familiar with at home that you can't get here because they don't export it correctly, or they don't bottle it right, or the labeling is
Doesn't meet the
different.
standards in the States. Or whatever
Correct.
the case.
And love America for all the rules and standards, but at home it is just different, and
Like it's not Jameson. That's my point. I mean, people think, right, it's Irish because I'm drinking Jameson.
Correct.
But it's not. They don't drink Jameson in Ireland.
well,
I mean,
would,
they do,
but
not. It's not a
correct.
common.
There's more. It would be like the microbreweries here. There would be whiskies in Ireland that you don't get here that
Yeah.
I could tell you, but you're going to look at me like I
Yeah, I don't know the name
Like
or
I'm Irish.
anything. Right.
It'd be like trying to explain the craft brew world
In Ireland.
even in
And that's
another
interesting
state.
to know, because I
even in
think-
another state.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier St. Patrick's Day, and people think I'm so Irish. I'm drinking Jameson, and I'm like, no, and I remember saying I wasn't even sure, and I'm like, I don't think Jameson's super popular over there, but I'm not sure. But now you answer that question.
They
That's,
still drink it there, though.
No, I know.
But they do. And here's another thing about Jameson. Jameson is brewed in the north, and it's considered. Dare I go here? But,
Oh, yeah, you
but,
can.
the whole
Because
Catholic
in
Protestant.
different countries,
Right,
So a
and
battle
so
there.
there's a
Okay.
culture of the people that would traditionally drink Jameson would be more loyal to the Queen, and people that would drink more Paddy Powers would drink Tullamore Dew, would drink more of the true refined Irish whiskies.
So Claire, let
would
me
be
ask this
more
question:
Catholic.
When you come
There
back,
you go.
when you come
It's
back
true.
from your trip, are you going to bring us back a bottle of true Irish whiskey?
Oh,
I like the way this is
Will
moving.
I think you should.
I think I should bring 3 different ones
All right.
and do a taste test.
Do a taste test.
I like the,
Well, I'll be
I
fine.
like the way
she
you were
thinks.
moving it. I like the way she added some layers.
I don't know if we should do a show during that, but
I definitely think we should.
We've
I
already,
think for sure music should be
I
involved.
could be like,
you know.
BT is now asleep.
I'll be using my
so-
Uber.
Producer Grant has taken over the entire show because nobody's awake. Timmy, tell us about the new record, this new Christmas record.
Awesome. Moving along. I love it. Little promotion. This year I don't have a record or anything. I actually have a couple singles.
Okay.
One single that's pretty cool. It's called just Holiday Volume 7. It's in my family, which is a Kowalski supermarkets. You know that.
Absolutely.
In all the checkout lines, it's all Minnesota artists, all the way from Carrie Noble, Chris Hockey, myself. I did a song with Adam Levy. He played guitar. I did an old soul song from a band called the Soul Stirrers called Christmas Means Love. If you heard it, you wouldn't know it. Even our parents probably wouldn't. Even it wasn't a hit. Turned out great. The money goes to charity, $10.
Love it.
Check it out. That's out currently. That I'm very, very proud of. Adam and I will never forget.
Only at Kowalski's?
Yes. And I'll never forget, you work with pros like Adam, who's just such a great guy.
Who's got a great new record out himself.
Oh, my God.
That tribute
Just-
to his late son, Daniel.
just-
It's beautiful. Amazingly beautiful.
Ridiculously amazing. I talked to him the other day about it, and the first song, the record's called Knob and Way. And I got to give him a little props on that record. But
Let's do it, please.
So buy Adam Levy's new record because it's just, as a songwriter,
Dobbin Way's the
it's,
shoreline on Lake Michigan where they took Adam's ashes,
Yeah.
and he talks about that in the song.
and
he
then
sings about it.
then Adam's son, who the tattoos and the art. Oh my God! I mean, he has the tattoos, but the art that his son did is
Yeah.
it's just the most amazing thing. And I actually have now asked him, because he's going to be making prints, by the way, of some of them.
That's great. Of
and
Daniel's
sell 'em.
work?
Yeah.
And did I say Adam's ashes, or did I say Daniel's?
I think
Anyhow,
I think
his
it's
son's
Daniel.
his
Yeah.
son's ashes,
Yeah.
so yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I also want to make sure, I feel like people, it's not a total morbid, sad
No,
record.
it's beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's a tribute. It's a
And-
dad loving
You know,
his son.
when you guys get going, I just feel so lost. I mean,
You got to listen to the record, Tom.
I know, but I just
You
feel
do.
so lost. I'm looking at Claire. Claire's
gotta-
saying, we're like,
It's the kind of record that for me, I call it two things: a day changer or a pullover record. And what that means to me is that when I'm listening to it, it changes my day, or if I turn it on, I realize how good it is, I just pull over. That happens to me at least once a week, where I will pull over literally any block.
Because you have to hear it.
I
you
have
you
to
can't
listen.
be distracted,
Yeah.
I
right?
have to listen.
See, there's a difference in hearing and listening.
Totally.
Yeah, very much so.
And I talk a lot about that because I teach a little bit of McPhail, and I tell students the importance of listening besides practicing. Listening can make you so much better and well-versed, which now kind of segue into my other holiday song. I got to work with, again, last year I did a song with Robert Robinson, maybe one of the best gospel singers in the country.
I would agree.
Has sang at the White House, Sounds of Blackness, amazing. We met through a random way. We did a song last year together, and we did Put a Little Love in Your Heart, which of course
Love
was
that song.
The Jackie DeShannon song from back in the day. Mhm.
But in the version, of course, I connected with was the Annie Lennox and help me out, Al Green.
Al Green, yeah.
And it was for the movie
Scrooge.
Scrooge, thank you.
Yep.
But amazing version we did. We just had fun with it. But we realized, what an unusual combination. I kind of have an Irish soul voice, this black
He's got the
gospel.
whole gospel thing.
But we realized there's something happening here.
I
And
loved that song. I loved it.
there
And
was
you guys really
something-
clicked.
That is one of my favorite songs for Christmas. It
Yeah.
really is. And I don't think I'd really heard it until the movie Scrooge, where I really paid attention to it. And that goes back to what you're saying about listening and pulling over. There are songs, when you listen to them when you're driving along, they just snap you to another mood.
Nope. Yeah. I call it, and I also call them oxygen songs. Songs that make me essentially keep breathing. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but
No, that's great. That's a good description.
So, the song we did this year, which a friend of mine, Tommy Barbarella, I got to do names. He was with Prince forever.
Yep.
One of the most talented people. Jim Anton played on it. Bass player, of course, with everybody. J.T. Bates. I recorded it with Eric Bloomquist at River Rock Studios, and Tommy picked an old Stevie Wonder song, an obscure one called One Little Christmas Tree, that actually Stevie wrote. And Well, again, this is just when this is going to come out in about a week and a half on iTunes, and we're going to release it with the other song. Just, I mean, to be in the room with these people, I mean, you know, not just Minnesota, the most talented people in the country, and even for me to arguably hang with them, it was such an honor. And we talked going back to that listening, how they discuss, this was the most fascinating thing, watching them in the studio, how they discuss playing parts. By the way, a lot of times, and I'll tell this to my students, it's not about chord changes all the time. They reference songs. So it's about keeping your ears, whether you like the music or not, to knowing stuff. And they'll go, so I remember Tommy was telling Anton, the bass player, he goes, Jimmy, no, give me like in the verse, give me like more like Earth, Wind, and Fire vibe, you know? and they
That's
know
great.
that, right?
Yeah,
because we've listened to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Sure.
We know what that means. On the chorus, go more, you know, I want more like slow, like Marvin Gaye Sexual Healing kind of vibe, you know? That's what our listening does to us. It makes us smarter. Anyways, this song's called One Little Christmas Tree. It's going to come out with Put a Little Love in Your Heart as a single in a week and a half or so, and I'm just
I'm excited.
I'm proud to do it. And again, Robert and I we have so much fun doing this, and we're going to keep doing it. It's not even about sales, and we're doing it.
It's just about you guys collaborating. Yeah.
We just love it.
Let me ask this question.
Do you know
I mean, is it wrong to ask if he plays a few bars?
Well, can you do or can you do the song here, or is just
I
no?
don't know.
Do you need Robert here to do it?
Well, I don't know.
Do you want me to sing?
I didn't plan
No.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
that. Let's see.
Do you know what's beautiful as he
can't.
creates himself here? Like, we had a conversation ahead of starting this, but Tim, when you start talking about music and the heart and the soul
Yeah.
of what you're saying, your body comes to life.
Yeah,
and,
it's been fun to watch.
and people, you're listening to this, but I'm watching you evolve into your story and into what message you're giving us, because you truly feel it in your heart, and your disposition is 100% different.
Wow.
Not that it was bad.
No, you get
but it was-
excited.
No, you're right. And I mean, maybe we talked earlier, because I'm Irish too, you know, we all got our issues, but I use that word oxygen a lot when I talk about songs that I need it to live. I truly need it to live. And I think what people, maybe the most confusing thing they'll ask me is like, oh, then you must play all day, right? You play and strum. Not that I don't enjoy that, but I said I probably listen more than I play.
Yep.
So every week and every day, I'm searching for a song or a day changer. Could be a hit song, could be something never heard. That's truly, and I hate to do the cliche, what keeps me going on a daily basis. A song, just anything. And I think if you want me to segue into a little song, that I'll do a little bit if you don't mind.
Do a song for
Just
us.
real quick, as I said though, your passion, like Claire's talking about, is the passion. I love it, man, because when somebody does something for a living, when they're passionate about it, it's like you're saying, not only do you do it and you practice it, but you listen and you learn from other people, and you can see that in any type of profession, really. I mean, a realtor, a mortgage guy, a broadcaster, whatever, but you do get excited about it. That's kind of fun watching you talk about that, Tim, because, you know, I know you a little bit. You're kind of a goofball like me, right? But when you're
No
talking,
question.
but when you're talking,
Yes.
but you're like me. You're talking music. You're getting all into it, and I don't follow all of it. I could get into mortgages and I get all pumped up, and you're not going to follow all of it. But it's cool to see people get passionate about what they do, because you know what? It means they really freaking care.
Yeah, absolutely.
And isn't that
you
about
do. I mean, when you
anybody's-
start riffing on mortgage stuff, I mean, whenever we do the show and you start riffing on that, the same thing
My
happens.
persona changes. Yeah, I know.
Well, and Claire was just doing the same thing, just getting excited about your office and being able to service people.
Oh, I
at a
get
new
excited
spot.
about a lot
She
of
has a
things.
nice office, let me tell you.
But I think that's too even why they would want to hear it more, right? I think we were talking about the name of the show, Mortgages, right? It sounds like, okay, boring. But if you do sound passionate, like we talk about songs, if it's, you know, it took me a long time to figure out when people sound believable, you want to listen more. You know, that's just what happens, you know. I get together
you
with
can see the passion
songwriters
in their
and
eyes.
Well,
we
it
try to
enga-
write hits. And
It
it's like-
engages people, and like with you, I mean, it engages the audience, right? And it engages your students when you're teaching, because they see and feel what you're bringing across to them, and
Totally.
they're getting it.
Totally, and I'll talk about a song and why should you listen to this one part or this one section, and how this one little section of this song inspired 35 songs,
Yeah.
stuff like
Made
that.
an emotional connection. Why don't you do a song for us now?
So-
We don't want to put you up against the wall with that Christmas song.
No,
because you
I
didn't
know.
come prepared
We'll just
for
put
that
you up.
one.
We'll just put you up against
But
the chair.
let's do it old school. Tom, take your microphone there, Tommy, and get it over there on the guitar.
So
And then
I definitely have to, and I kind of thought of this earlier. I did, but they didn't tell me the Irish thing with our guest. But get the guitar up there a little bit. So people will ask me my Irish connection musically. Well, so the most important band in my life, I mean, probably besides another billion people on the planet, is U2. Now, my passion to that goes back to my first live performance at Minnetonka High School. I played a U2 song. I played two. I played Desire, which of course was from the record and movie Rattle and Hum, which wasn't a popular movie, but I went to like 8 times and thought it was so cool to listen to them talk. And by the way, they're from Northern Ireland, and I can tell your accent, reminds me a lot of, like, especially Edge and the drummer.
Edge is from Northern Ireland.
Yeah, that's why. And I just
English
so it's
born,
funny,
but grew up in Northern
but it's
Ireland.
only funny
Don't mention
because
English.
again, just more of a music here. See, I can just tell the timbre and the way she's speaking it. I've heard the Edge talk so much, so I know when he talks what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And that's what it reminds me the most of. So, the song I'm going to do here is it's actually from the not the Unforgettable Fire, but Joshua Tree record.
Oh my God.
Of course, it's hard to say when a record's so huge, right? You're like, oh my God, it's awesome, because you're like, yeah, you and another trillion people. But the song that hit me was this one, and I think I'll remember all the words if I don't.
Will Fella.
Yeah. It's a song called Running to Stand Still. So she woke up from where she was, lying still, said, I gotta do something about where we're going. Step on a steam train, step out of the driving rain, maybe run from the darkness in the night. I said, la 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 day, la 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 day. She waits through the streets with eyes painted red, under the back belly in the cloud in the rain. And she gives me whole blackened stares, stolen from the sea. She's breaking, oh, she's breaking, oh, she's breaking. And her eyes bring back to me. See that, oh, la, la, the day. Oh, la, la, oh, la,
Yeah, baby.
little edited version there for you.
That's just fine. That was lovely.
Yeah, that song just, what do you say? It just changed me. That between Unforgettable Fire and the Joshua Tree, the other song, just play a little sample, was, is this song Bad? I'm not sure that you need to know I feel like you should know every U2 song. You're from Ireland, but
That's part of the requirement.
I'm not judging you, but I'm judging you right now. So.
No, it's just,
It's what
you
the
know,
Irish,
it's all right.
It's what the Irish do.
It is what we do.
You know,
No,
but
it's
We're suspiciously judgmental.
Minnesotans and Irish get along because it's sort of a passive-aggressive thing. You know?
When I hear Mahoney play, or remember when Carver played the trumpet, we saw Johnny and stuff like that. When I hear musicians play, I'm just jealous, okay? Because I played the drums when I was younger, stuff like that. Drums, you can't put out emotion and stuff like that. A guitar, a trumpet, something where you can put out emotion. I mean, I can't sing either, so.
Well, I would disagree with you in that regard.
I'm
jealous of it. I mean,
this is how we know.
You
just said
go watch some
something,
Gene Krupa,
and
you go watch some Buddy Rich.
I wasn't a very good drummer.
Now.
I wasn't a very good drummer. Buddy Rich, I remember Buddy Rich.
Sorry,
that's just because I wasn't a very good drummer. I couldn't put emotion into it.
I could play Monroy's beat. I could do Wipeout. I could do all your basic stuff. But to me, watching somebody, I mean, when you watch it play the drums, like when I went to the Stones concert, right, and I'm watching them back there jamming on the drums, I mean, they're getting into it. There's emotion, right? There is emotion. But most of the time, it's going to be more of an upbeat, high beat, whatever. When you're playing a guitar or a trumpet or something like that, there's so much more you can do with the tunage of it or the vocality of it that gives you different feelings and stuff. And it's like, like we've had a couple different people on. The one I almost cried the one time. I was close to crying over the one song.
Yeah.
I listened to Mahoney play. I mean, Tim really, and you're watching him, and he's getting into it, and you kind of feel where he's coming from. Carver with the trumpet, the whole thing. It's like, I'm just jealous.
I'm very what you're saying.
No wonder musicians get all the chicks.
Was
that when Tim touched your leg?
Yeah.
From that instrument standpoint and the tonality standpoint, I totally get it, because different key signatures evoke different emotions as well. Totally. When you write in different keys.
We talk about
and not just major, minor.
Students, right?
But just different, even major
just
keys
going up,
evoke different
going
emotions.
up or down.
Too.
And real quick on that listening thing, I know I just bring it up all the time, but I think people, when they're general listeners and not musicians, they think they need to be smarter. And I always say to this, no, just know if you like something or don't. Matter of fact, the people I like to play stuff for, like a mix, is not musicians. I want to know someone who just listens to it and goes, I love it.
Yeah.
And it made me feel something. That's the stuff I get. I would rather than have someone go, the bass part could be a little bit better, and the vocal could be a little more catchy. So just what I'm saying is, to connection to your thing, be okay with just saying, I just like it. You don't need to be educational music. That's just the beauty of listening to it.
Very good stuff.
I'm the type of guy too, like when I watch The Voice, I don't look at the singer. I close my eyes so I can listen to the music.
Next topic, BT.
I'm just saying, I like to listen to the music.
Well, I was going to say,
and that's what he's getting at.
When we grew up in Ireland, we had ceilidh houses and session houses, and my grandfather was a musician, could pick up any instrument and play it by ear. So my parents taught us when we were growing, literally in our kitchen. They'd push the kitchen table back, put the chairs up on the sideboard, and they taught us how to dance. They taught no, truly. So if there was music on, like Irish music, we could get up and we can dance. So passing that along, I'm not a musician like you are.
I
have
do that
my
when
own,
I'm in a bar.
I have my own little music thing, right? But I make my children listen. So instead of just hearing the guitar or the piano, it's like, what other instruments do you hear? I have them actually tune out what is prevalent sound, and I ask them to identify what it is in the sound that they can hear, and then start mimicking that sound in order to hear what else is in the song.
What else is there? Listening,
you know what I mean?
not
That's
just
exactly
hearing,
right.
but listening.
Yeah.
Because when you're watching a band, everybody zeroes in on something. It's like to concentrate. Okay, can you hear the bass? Can you hear this? Can you hear that? I get it.
Yep,
Just kind of keep
BT
looking.
wants to talk.
Well, I just want to say, still coming up on the show, 5 homeowner need to knows. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to So You Want to Buy a House
Hopefully
in
we
just
know
a
some
second.
answers.
In just a second or two here as well, and also Claire's trip to Ireland, some Christmas stuff, and also how Irish is Tim Mahoney. We're going to get to that before the end of the Mortgages and BS show here on the Live and Social Network.
You run the show, so tell us where we're
Live
going.
at Kieran's. I'll tell you where we're going.
Live at Kieran's Pub, great place. Stop down here. They have 175 Irish whiskeys.
But none of the ones that Claire can bring
right.
us.
173 of them, I don't know what they are or not, but anyways.
You got Jack Daniels?
Very
you know,
hey.
like things are popular here. JD's kind of popular in Ireland too.
There you go. There you
exactly.
go.
You're gonna get the Jameson thing here. The sports ticket, your entry to all things sports, happens right here on the Alive and Social Network. We're going to throw some props to Kevin Gorg and Kendall Mark. 2 shows from those guys every Monday in the Alive and Social Studios. Thursdays live from McGovern's. They dissect the recent games from the Twins, the Wolves, Gophers, Vikings, Wild, you name it. They do it all. Get the scoop from those guys. The Sports Ticket, Mondays and Thursdays on the Alive and Social Network.
Let me tell you, I love Gorgie. Gorgie's won me some money. I'd go out to Vegas, and I'd call him up, and I'd say, I'm out here, I'm looking at these horses on these different races, and he'd tell me what to bet, and I'd win.
He's the guy.
I mean, it was fantastic. Or I could even bet Canterbury out there different, too. It's kind of cool.
He's
Kevin's
a great personality,
guy.
too, yeah.
You talk about Jack Daniels for a minute. May I digress? Because you know how my mind wanders. Years ago when I was in the service, one of the guys that was one of my best friends lived in Kentucky. And we were getting ready to head to Florida for our year of nuclear power school, which we've talked about.
As you were in the Navy. Yeah.
So I'm getting ready to head to Kentucky, and he goes, Tom, bring 5 cases of Jack Daniels.
Oh, Jesus.
I said, why? He says, just get 5 cases of Jack Daniels.
Cases.
I said, all right. So I got 5 cases of Jack Daniels. He calls me up the next day and goes, 20 cases of beer. He did this for 3 days. He asked me to bring different things. He lived in a dry county in Kentucky. A dry county. So everything I took down there, he sold for about 5 times what I paid for.
That's like the liquor in North Dakota.
Because the stills were getting busted.
Sure.
So back then, a bottle of Jack was probably like $10 or something like that. We were getting 50 bottles.
$50 a bottle.
Oh, this is awesome. I was like, so if anybody wants to go someplace and they know there's a dry county, stock up before you go.
Stock up and follow your pal's advice. I like that you just followed the advice without asking too many questions. Okay, I'll bring 5 cases. Whatever you say, pal. I'll bring 5 cases.
The things I used to do for $1.
You take a quick sip there, and I want you to give us a 2-minute edition from whatever's on the top of your mind in regard to so you want to buy a house.
So you want to buy a house. Obviously, when we're looking at buying a house, we look at prices of homes, we look at the needs, we look at interest rates. Right now, prices of homes are fantastic. They're going to probably drop a little bit over the winter just because it's kind of a dead time, but they'll pop back up in the spring. Rates are still great, but they're going to probably pop up a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. Feds meet next week, and right now what everybody's concerned about is what's going on in European countries again with their bonds, their interest rates, their policy. And as a result of that, this week the bond market's been off a little bit. Part of that has to do with it's that time of the year where there's not a lot of traders and stuff too, and we talked about this before.
Yep.
So rates are up a little bit. I mean,
what are the rates right now?
Depending upon credit and stuff like that, they're 4-ish to 4 1/4.
It's not bad.
I mean, it's hard to really see what
great.
rates are anymore because of the fact that they're tied to the loan program, the loan to value, the credit score. Do you have black hair, gray hair, whatever? I mean, it's gotten crazy.
That's not true.
Okay, well, if you got
Close.
A positive or B positive. But, I mean, it's gotten a little crazy. So you give a range, so you can't really quote a rate. And then even if we quote an interest rate, we have to quote an EPR and all that other garbage. But rates are fantastic. The Feds meet next week. They're expecting the Feds to raise the rate, which
I don't know.
I don't know.
Not
Part
gonna
of
No,
happen.
they're not. No.
The economic data is telling me no. What I'm watching. The thing is like I said before, it's not what the Fed does, or what the Fed says, right? So the Fed's been saying all this stuff, and everybody's reading into the policy, so they're thinking they're going to raise it. If they don't raise rates, we're going to see a major rally in the markets. Rates will drop a little bit. If they raise rates, you know what's going to happen? Not a dang thing.
That's exactly right.
Everything's going to be fine. Yeah.
There's going to be people need to sell, and there's going to be people need to buy.
Yeah, I don't see.
Always going to go.
I said this a while back. I don't see rates.
The market's going to stay where it's at.
18 months before. I think it's still 12 to 18 months before we see rates of 5%. And if anybody complains about 5%, they've got problems.
Because even that's fine.
Oh,
It is.
yeah.
Wash your mouth out.
And if you don't mind, I'm going to come in with my usual.
Watch it, Claire.
My first time I came on the show, I asked you some mortgage questions.
Well, toss us one right now.
Just one quick one.
Yep, and we'll
Nice
get another one
bring-
later.
He's
Quick
got a
one, really
note-
quick.
He's got a notebook.
No,
I gotta keep us on time.
I know. Real quick one, and this is just on the rate. Do you guys always just want it to be lower just because you get more business? I mean, are you thinking about also the whole economy, like where rates should be? You know, do you ever think about it that
That's
way?
a good question.
So,
That's a great question.
Claire, you go first. From that real estate.
so like you think about the whole economy in
agent's
general.
perspective,
Where
broker's perspective.
you know, what do you think on that question?
Rates are important, but they actually, when we send our clients over to Tom and we make sure that they are qualified, they're looking at a number. And while the number has a percentage rate to it, It's actually more about what type of house they can buy, because they have been pre-qualified, they've got money to spend, and they're ready to jump up and jump out and get into my car and off we go. And yes, there are the analytical type that are going to go, oh, it's up a quarter of a point and it means this and it means that. But really, you know, at the end of the day, they're ready to buy, they're ready to go. And when Peter and I moved here, our interest rate was 8.5%.
See, there you go.
And now I'm looking at
I
it
could have
going,
got you 8.
no, I was an international buyer. You forgot that part.
Sales.
You know, the
Tom.
Irish mafia. Do you remember? No, I'll take that back.
You don't want
and,
that.
No. So really, home buyers, when they're ready to buy, they're ready to buy. They have qualified. They've got a stable job. They've got a payment history. They have a bank account. They're ready to go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Real quick, on Tom, your answer to that
All
one.
right, I'm going to agree with everything Claire said. The other part of it is we used to be happy when rates dropped because we figured people would refinance, right? Problem is so many people have low interest rates, there's
Right.
nobody to refinance.
Yep.
The other part of it is there's still people that can refinance that don't think they can, and there's a big percentage. We actually see better quality buyers, and I hate to say this, when rates are a little bit higher. Now what's
Interesting,
happened?
okay.
Now what's happened
exactly
though?
right.
What's happened though is the buyers have gotten smarter now though too. So I can't say that's going to be true going forward, because you're seeing new buyers come to us now, and they've got good credit. They've got this. They've got that. But the big issue is when rates do take a big drop, we do see buyers that we see more buyers that can't buy than we could see at rates at 7%. Let's put it that way.
I would say buyers that
Interesting.
shouldn't buy, Tom, to be honest.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean-
and we've got dodgy buyers. I put people in my car. You spend time, effort, energy, take time away from your family, your life, and everything else. You throw them in the car, you go and look at houses. Everything looks equal and right on paper, and all of a sudden, you know, the interest rate changes and they can't afford the $50 change. If they can't afford a $50 change,
it's the
there's something
affordability.
wrong with
It's really the affordability index. I mean, is what it comes down to. It's how much house can you buy. I mean, my first mortgage was 11.5.
Right.
And I know, BT, you and I talked, yours was higher than that one time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's what can you afford, and you can afford what the economy says at the time. We don't really care what interest rates are, to be honest.
And as a home
I don't
buyer,
really care.
you can afford what you can afford.
I mean,
even if it's 12.5%, if it fits into your monthly budget, then you know. And like Claire said, you're motivated, you're ready to go. You're going to make the purchase.
It's the economy as a whole, from the standpoint of the stimulation of the economy, what's happening.
Good, good answers, guys. BT, move on. I know you got to move on. I help him. I've been on radio before.
I love when Timmy's on the show because we're actually 3 co-hosts.
Well, just because I
One
know
show.
about movie show
way
and
to make
time.
me feel included,
but
guys.
no.
Thanks very much.
But when
Jesus.
You're our esteemed
when
guest.
when Joe Anderson's on the phone on the show, BT and I don't even sit here.
We don't. Yeah, we don't.
just leave.
Joe, you go. Joe, you go. All right,
How do I
Claire.
make that happen?
Ireland Christmas.
Grant, I need your help.
Got to give us a quick skinny on. Are you going to be there for Christmas?
In Ireland?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, you won't be. But give us a quick outlook as to what you're going to do when you're in Ireland. So give us a quick hit on that.
Okay.
Besides
keep it-
picking us up some whiskey.
You know,
keep
who are
it-
you visiting?
You want me to keep it happy?
Yeah, keep it happy.
Drunken in the pubs and getting fights.
Is there unhappy
and-
parts about it?
There is unhappy parts about it.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So yes, ordinarily this will be the first. We're here 16 years.
By the way, is my mic down on purpose? Am I trying to get out of the show? Or
I can hear you perfectly fine.
I'm just kidding. I was being funny. Okay, go.
that was
Sorry.
my doing. So typically we go home every Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Whether allowed or not.
that's exactly right. Last year was not a good Christmas, and my children said, I don't want to go back to Ireland this year for Christmas. And I said, right, fair enough. So
Were they born here?
they
Oh,
are.
okay.
But for their life, our entire lives, their entire lives we've spent at Christmas in Ireland.
Did you tell them Krampus is coming this year?
Krampus.
I'll tell my 9-year-old. So very typically,
What's
you
their
know,
favorite whiskey? Sorry, I know. I just keep going.
Trying
Bush
to stay
Mills.
on task
I
here,
know.
Tony.
Ireland shuts down for 2 weeks, and I have to say that is one of the hugest drivers for us to go back home, because here I cannot stand. Again, I'm sorry to be. I love America. I'm a citizen, but it is really hard to do all of this and make all of this effort, and it's over in a day.
Yeah.
And at home you have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day, which is the day after Christmas, and for certain everywhere shut down. If you have not gotten your supplies in, you won't get anything.
I love that part of
You
the
won't get- you
European
won't get
cultures
it.
as well. Yeah.
And so that is a huge part of what. Are you enjoying that?
I
now
sort of like it, yeah.
So
It
that's a
grabs me
huge
anywhere
part of
else, we're in
our
trouble.
and the other part of it is because everybody's off. You get to visit each other's houses, so you go and
Spend some real time with each other.
totally spend time together, and people have the whiskey in, they have the Jameson in, they have the 2 gingers in.
Nice plug, by the way, at
Thank
Kieran's.
you, thank you.
go.
And but you know, the children have cousins to play with that they don't get to see, and it's just so much more. It's so much more family oriented. Everybody's on holiday, like they're off, they're switched off. There's no work. There's no checking emails because everyone's
Nobody would
bloody
make me
shut
take a
down.
loan application Christmas Eve day.
You know what?
Here they would.
Lenders only work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and
I'm going there.
and
Yeah.
that is
You
it.
got a place?
And that is it.
Here you'd close any minute, right, Tom?
So you know, Ireland, Christmas in Ireland is absolutely fabulous because there's people they'll meet for pints in the pub, and you find out what's going on, and you know, one turns into two, turns into a session. Seriously, somebody runs home, gets the guitar, and everybody's sitting around
Session,
singing, and it's
Lovely.
so organic.
So you'll be back here in time for Christmas with the Killen family then.
Yes, I will.
So
And I'll
give it-
bring my mom with me.
So, oh, lovely. So she's coming back with you?
She's coming back with
So
me.
what's Christmas going to be like here? We're going to spend 30 seconds with each of us as to what's
Go.
going on with Christmas. Go.
So we're doing something completely different. Again, we're actually heading to the beach.
Nice.
I know.
Oh,
Which
that's
beach? Where are you
cool.
going?
Punta Cana.
Oh, that'll be lovely.
I've never done a beach holiday before. I'm actually frightened. Kids
My
are excited.
passport is up to date.
I'm like, I don't know.
I can go.
I don't know if I can do this.
I think you're going to do
I'm
just
very
fine.
traditional. I'm very traditional.
I think that's going to
so
be great.
I have
though.
my mum making a Christmas pudding.
Okay.
We're going to smuggle it in. I hope there's no people listening
TSA
here.
things going on, right?
But it's all baked and cooked and good, so you know, it shouldn't have any issues with it. And we're going to go to Punta Cana.
Oh, lovely. Tom, 30 seconds.
What am I doing for Christmas? I'm going to Milwaukee like I always do.
Great.
Kids get to go down and see their cousins. I get to drink and eat all I want and not have to drive.
And you're going to give me your other 20 seconds.
There we go. And
But
then,
other days you would drive.
well, in the old days we did more Christmas in the old days. In the old days, Christmas was different. I mean,
Tonight he's going to be shit canned and he's going to drive.
we did Christmas.
Christmas.
All right,
I'm kidding.
whatever.
We do not promote that. Nobody will be driving.
Do they?
I bought us a
Because we
limo.
got our pals from Blue and White that'll
That's
help.
right.
Now I don't have any time left. Okay.
All right.
No, in the old days, I did Christmas with my parents, my wife's parents. We did at home, the kids, whatever. The kids now, I mean, we have a little quick Christmas at my house. They get their presents. They're happy. We drive down. We see the in-laws.
Good for you.
It's a good time to see the family, enjoy yourselves. And you talk about Ireland. I mean, like when I lived in Germany, it was more of an
Traditional
experience.
thing, yeah.
I mean, we did the whole thing. We had the family for 4 days there. I mean,
There
it
you
was
go.
crazy.
Mahoney, 30 seconds. What are you doing?
Here we go. All my holidays are always just packed full of families. I got to do
Nice.
3 families in one day.
Yep.
We talked about I have Mahoney's, I have the Kowalskis,
Yep.
and I have my mom's side, the Laytons. Now, of course, why that's so funny is because they're so different, right? You know, Kowalskis are very outgoing. Laytons are, of course, the Mahoneys. As we know, some Irish people. I could literally walk into the Mahoneys, get my food on a table, sit down, eat, not say one word to anybody, and leave, and they'd be like, yeah, Timmy seems like he's doing good.
Yeah.
Yep. Good to see you, Tim.
Yep. I was like, no one said a word there. And if they do, some of my uncles, they sound like this. Well, goddamn motherfuckers, I'll tell you what. We went out to the goddamn fields. I told him to go hunt yourself. And you tell you what, I told your uncle, I said, I'll punch him right in the goddamn fucking mouth.
Tim, you should come with me. We
Timmy.
even gamble.
Then it ended with Timmy.
Timmy.
Listen, goddamn it. And then
Tim-
I'd go, I agree, Jerry. Good seeing you. I love you.
Yeah, right.
You know.
That plate
And,
of food was delicious. We'll see you later.
Timmy, you come with me. We even gamble at ours.
Yeah.
Were you in Ireland with me last year?
We're going. I think I'm falling in love with you.
Aw.
I'm kidding.
No, I'm going to have you do some Irish tunes.
You
then.
did sign a prenup, right?
No, seriously.
Remember, I have a lot of husbands right now that are
Oh.
quick.
None of-
Claire, he's hitting on you and he's rubbing my leg, so I don't know about this.
There you go. None of us are Jewish
I
in our
think-
family, but we do Jewish Christmas.
Oh, you do?
So we go see a feature film. We have Chinese food. And then we
Really?
go see a second feature.
Well, that's cool.
And our cluster of friends and family that have joined in on Jewish Christmas has grown each and every year because nobody's house gets dirty. Everybody enjoys each other's company.
Yeah.
there's presents to be exchanged. We do that on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day we get to enjoy some fine movie making. It's still a lot of camaraderie and friendship and love.
I think
Big
I'd rather
food
eat buttered
fan,
popcorn.
real quick. Where do you Chinese? Do you make? Do you go? Where?
We have gone.
And I'm not
and
trying to promote
Nope,
somewhere, but
that's
I
all
just
right. I'm
mean
glad you asked. We have
I
done,
love that.
We have done both. Last year we made Chinese food at home.
And I love Chinese food, so
Yep.
we should get a sponsor of a Chinese
Get
place.
the
Right.
big cast iron wok going. And,
Oh my
and
God,
have
I
at
love
it.
that. That's my.
I think we'll
BT,
go to
that's my
Germany.
I'm going
favorite-
to ask a really dumb
my
question here.
favorite food.
Oh, I'm with you.
I'm going to ask a really dumb question. Why do you
What a
call that a
shocker.
Jewish Christmas?
Because that is Jewish.
No, it
Christmas.
is. It's very, yeah.
That's
All,
tradition.
what Jewish people always go to movies.
Yeah,
typically.
and why? And you ask why the Chinese food? Because Chinese people generally are of non-Christian persuasion, as the Jewish folks are of a
yeah.
non-Christian.
All right,
persuasion.
I'm living in a freaking closet somewhere.
Everybody's
Are
looking
you
for something.
educated? I
Claire's
mean,
laughing
don't
at
you
me
run a
here.
mortgage company?
Well, I used to
Anyways.
run one, but
How much time we have left on the show, Grant? 6 minutes. Oh, then we.
we cause a lot more trouble. In 6
Oh,
minutes.
we got-
I'm
we got-
still dying on this because Claire's laughing at me like you didn't know that.
Yeah. So you're Jewish. You're celebrating Hanukkah. So Christmas Day comes around. You're going to go find a place that's going to be open because the non-Christians that are the Chinese folks are going to
Exactly.
keep their restaurant open.
I would like to do that one year. I would like to try that.
You come join us this year. I mean, I know you got
I
the
would,
family
but
thing.
actually, I
know.
just think that's a nice alternative. It's not.
try
It's
it.
not that you don't believe in it, but it's just a nice
My
alternative.
only
Yeah.
problem with the
Going
whole
to the
holiday
beach.
is all the
Huh?
liquor stores
Like
are
going
closed.
to the beach.
I'm with you there.
And
Yeah.
right, that's going to feel really weird going to the beach, right?
I
Like
feel it's so weird.
presents and
Okay.
I wouldn't want to live
offered to
it.
take my
BT,
kids
move
to
on.
Hawaii
here.
and
We,
they turned me
we
down.
got to move on because
Tom,
I wanted
come
Hey, stop.
5 homeowner need to knows are going to have to be saved for another show.
That's okay.
Tim
Makes
so-
us-
Tim's
There's
song number
another show.
Tim's song number 2 is going to have to be saved for another
That's okay.
show.
That's
Can you give us
okay.
a few bars of
'cause
it,
I-
though?
But
I
I,
have another
how
drink.
about I'll just make up a little something.
Yo, dude.
Just do
Dude,
one
dude.
quick ditty then, real
Yeah,
quick,
real quick.
because
Just
then we're going to
just make it
do
up.
how Irish is Tim Mahoney.
We need to do that.
How about
I'm already laughing. Here's a little show about mortgages and BS, mostly BS. I bet you heard it all today. Except today we got a sweet ass chick. She is from Ireland, you might know by her accent. I'm gonna try to ask her out to go out for Chinese food on Christmas Day. Don't you know? Sometimes I'm kind of creepy, but sometimes I'm kind of talented.
Baby.
The true thing is I love all these guys, and I'll come back anytime again.
Yeah, baby.
There you go. Come on.
All right, Claire, you're going to help.
you mentioned nothing about rubbing my legs?
Yeah,
I
all
know,
right.
I know.
That's the kind of. No,
There
he
we
did.
go.
Let's
he
see
mentioned,
how
Now
Irish
remember-
is.
he mentioned the kind of creepy parts.
Yeah,
Remember,
well, I
I'm going to
understand
need
that.
her consultation on actually how
That's
Irish
right.
I am.
All right,
So
we got
here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different categories here.
Uh-oh.
You made this up already?
We both said
how-
uh-oh.
You
I-
prepared this.
How Irish is Tim
Oh,
Mahoney?
God.
All right, here we go. And Claire, you can help out.
But
when
Can I
she's
answer
not
too?
part of it too. Well, I guess she's from there.
but you're gonna have to
See,
go
this
to
is
her
the
as a
part.
lifeline. All right, so you're the lifeline.
Hello.
But I was honest
You're
though.
German.
'Cause these
Remember,
are Irish.
But
These
before
are
I
Irish
say it,
things.
let me
You're
tell
German.
you, my dad's dad is who came over from Ireland. So I want to make sure I'm clear.
All right.
There is some separation now.
We're
What
running out of
percent?
time
I
here.
got it. Quick, go.
When do Christmas trees get set up in Irish households? You have 3 choices: the day after Thanksgiving, December 1st, or Christmas Eve.
Well, I feel like Ireland's different. It's got to be.
I know.
It's got to be Christmas Eve.
Claire,
Correct.
Well,
Same
because
as-
it's so odd.
beginning of the Advent
it's so
calendar,
odd.
December 1st.
Not in our house.
Not in her house.
So we were both wrong.
No, he's wrong. He just doesn't know it.
Saint
Typical Irish.
Stephen's Day, day after Christmas, also known as Boxing Day, is celebrated how in Ireland? Families return unwanted gifts in their original boxes. Quarreling relatives put on padded gloves and duke it out. It's Boxing Day,
I know
after
that's
all.
not that.
I go for that
And-
one, Tim.
And then
Not really
or
fair.
families take another day off and celebrate
3.
with another large
Number
meal.
3.
All right, you got it. Yes, number 3.
Okay, got
Claire,
you.
you
Do you
concur?
know the true traditional say? You know what it means, right?
Putting the pennies in the boxes for the poor people.
No. It actually the origination. I'll go really fast because I can talk really fast. Is that people celebrated Christmas and the birth of Jesus, And then Boxing Day was literally opening the gifts, opening the boxes.
Opening the boxes. Well, I've heard a
Correct.
different story there.
Well, you celebrate a Jewish Christmas.
I go with the boxing story. I'm kicking someone's butt.
Touche to Claire Killen.
That was good.
Traditional Irish blessings generally begin with the word may and often contain the word may many times over. Which of these is a traditional Irish blessing? We have 3 of them. Which is a traditional Irish blessing? May your interest rate always stay at 3 1/4, and may your buyer absorb all closing costs.
I love that.
May you always have work to do, and may your pockets always hold a coin or two. Or may little smoke be blown up your arse, and may your boots always steer clear of manure.
Wow, that's a
It
tough one,
It is
Tim.
number 2, but one of the most famous ones, of
Or
course.
D.
But remember,
Number 3.
what's one of our most famous ones is "May your wind always be at your back," and
There you go.
know, and that's the short version of that longer one. But that's one I always connect to. And by the way, to take on how Irish I am, I'm not as Irish as her. I'm about probably by
Why does Tim
percentage
get to talk?
65, 70, but we have similar stuff. So. Some of the boxing stuff, by the way, is involved in holidays sometimes too.
Right on.
And by the way,
Real
the
boxing.
But the best part about it is Irish people, they forget about the next day. So
absolutely.
this is where it's going to sound really funny. I may or may not have gotten in a few little scuffles with my dad, but the best part about it is the next day he'd call me up. He'd go, "What you up to today?"
Hey.
Here's what
That's
I,
it.
It's over and done with.
Yeah,
That's
did you have
it.
fun yesterday? Right, whatever.
it. It's
Yep,
over.
It's over.
Okay,
Done.
another one. I gotta know.
A traditional Irish breakfast contains
Ooh.
servings of black and white pudding, always. Name just 2 ingredients from each of these puddings, all right? Quote-unquote puddings. So
gonna get
black
tough.
pudding. Name at least 2 ingredients of black pudding. Claire, you can help out here if you need to.
a black crayon.
Rice.
All right, Claire, go ahead.
No.
Blood.
Yep, all right, pork blood,
Is it pork? I thought it was deer. I thought it
Oh,
was
for
deer.
Jesus' sake. How many
Pork
freaking
blood?
deer do you see in Ireland?
And what's another ingredient in black pudding?
Hey, I'm going to go hit on Mandy for a while, okay?
Oh, wow.
Just play along here,
I
Smith.
brought my good friend, and now Tom
What's
wants to hit
another
on her.
ingredient?
Another ingredient.
Go.
Well, it's not the obvious. That's the thing, right?
We got to move ahead.
Go.
Pork blood, pork fat, oatmeal, some grits, maybe bread or
Right,
potatoes.
I knew it's nothing to do with pudding.
How about
Bread.
white pudding? White pudding.
Bread.
Pork.
Yep, there you go. Bread, pork, oatmeal, suet, pork fat.
I just
that's
knew
the
they
thing.
both.
One
were-
more to go.
I knew they had nothing to do with pudding.
No,
How
we
Irish
won't.
is Tim Mahoney? He's doing pretty well here, actually.
I'm doing horrible.
You're-
and-
no, you're
and
doing
literally,
Tim,
she's
wait,
mouth.
you're going to redeem yourself here.
Here we go.
Carry
We got
on,
one
carry on.
more.
Go,
She's
go.
mouth me.
We got
all
one
of
more to
Did you
go.
notice a woman just brought Tim a drink?
Yeah, that's the way it works for Tim. It just happens that way. One more to go.
And it wasn't me.
There are many different ways to say hello, how you doing, etc. in Ireland. Out of these 5,
5. Jesus Christ. Make it
only
5. Make it 3.
2 are
Oh.
our
popularly used. Out of these 5, only 2 are popularly used.
But I have to say it with an accent.
All right. How's your crack?
Oh,
Okay, keep going. You can't
What's
laugh.
the crack?
there you go.
How's your whole family?
All right. All right there, Bomber. How's the form? Your mother's panties, then. Which of those 2 are actual
The
ways?
second and the last.
What's the crack? And your mother's panties, then.
I'm sorry. But I got to add one more. I got to add one thing.
How's she cutting?
All right, what was the actual answers? Come on.
How's the form?
How's the farm? Okay, and what's the
Okay,
bomber?
in
the
the
bomber
north of
one.
Ireland,
And
it's
what's the crack? No, not
What's
bomber.
the crack? Really?
Not
the
bomber.
crack is CRAIC.
Not the bomber. You know what it is? All right, then, boil, not bomber. You tripped up on the boil bomber.
I'm going to touch
Boil.
2 seconds on, because we're ending on Irish stuff, so much of that today. 2 seconds on St. Patrick's Day. We talked about when you're really
Oh,
Irish.
food smells
She's
awesome.
totally Irish. I'm of Slarge
Are you
Park.
sure?
But from my dad's perspective, us as Irish people, he'd always tell me, Timmy, Irish is just an amateur day. It's like a carnival. It's
No,
a
it is
carnival.
indeed.
It's a carnival. He's like.
St. Patrick's Day?
But then, of course,
it is.
this is the problem, and I mean this in a funny way, so you can laugh. He'd be like, "I drink more than these people on any other given on a Tuesday. Why do I need St. Patrick's Day?" No, that's the funny part of it. So there you go. There's the
Just
joke
any
of it.
given- just Tuesday.
He goes,
for crying out
"Why
loud.
the hell do I need a goddamn holiday to do it?"
I felt
Give
like
us a
that
little
20
out
years
music.
ago.
We
Go.
need a little out music here. As I mentioned that Jewish Christmas is a part of the Turner family, I'm going to throw some quick props, as we like to do at the end of the Mortgages and BS show, to other great programs on the Alive and Social Network, and we'll give props to Becca and Bobby, who bring us Not So Kosher, all things, period, in our Twin Cities that do with the Jewish community.
You know a lot about that.
Bobby. Listen to him. Not so kosher on the Alive and Social
Hey,
Network.
John Jansen was here from iHeart,
Yeah.
and he said they are not picking us up on the stations.
We knew that going into it, Smith.
Oh, well, whatever.
We knew
You know,
it
we just
heading
kind of hang
on
out and have
in.
fun.
So in Ireland, we say, how's your cutting?
How's
And the
your-
answer is the full of the blade.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm one to say that I'm going to move forward the agenda of how's your crack, not what the crack.
No,
What's
what's
the
the
crack?
crack?
No, I'm going to move forward the agenda of
And
how's
mine's
your
good
crack.
because
No,
my
you're not.
pants
Yes,
are
I
falling
am.
down.
No, you're
Look
not.
at
Let's see how it
Tom.
works.
Look,
Can you
Tom,
smoke
look.
my crack?
Tom, look at my crack right now. Can you see?
I don't want to see your crack.
No, it really is falling
Timmy-
down.
Yeah,
Mandy just said to me, she goes, "Tim, your pants are falling
pants are
down."
I
falling
saw
down.
that at the very
By the way,
outset, but I thought...
Mandy is Tim's significant other today.
It is.
for
Oh,
today.
here we go. I knew you were going to
Today.
say
Here we go again.
She's going to Ireland with him.
We got to wrap it up, my friends. Tom Smith, we will see you next week.
that. We're going to
okay,
Ireland.
Okay, then.
We
Claire
didn't
Killen, enjoy your trip to Ireland.
Thank you. I'll take you all with me and bring you back.
I'm
Loads of
going
whiskey.
to Ireland.
Tim Mahoney, thank you for being here, my brother.
I love you guys. I love
you guys come on back now.
I love all you guys.
We'll have
mostly the Irish girl.
We'll have
Oh,
these two on the
see.
show again.
Even though he was showing you all along.
I got a new name for the show, BT.
What do you got for us, Donnie?
Beer, Broads, and the Boys.
There you go.
I was thinking
Mine-
beer broads and Mahoney, but that's fine.
We're going to have to work on that, Tom.
Okay.
We're going to give that a little work. For
I bet
now,
I'll
it's,
come up with my own.
for right now, it's the Mortgages and BS show on the Alive
Well, you
and
can help
Social
sponsor
Network.
your show and just be on it all the time.
Ooh!
Grant, thank you for engineering and
Thank you,
producing
guys.
today.
Thanks for
Tim
having me.
Mahoney, Claire Killen, Tom
Timmy.
Smith. I'm BT
Timmy,
Brian
I love
Turner.
you, buddy.
Love
And
like
from
a cousin.
Kieran's in downtown Minneapolis, we say good
BT,
night.
you're okay. Claire, I love you too.
Why? August
Can I get a
Color.
ride from the Irish girl?
We'll see you next week.
Sláinte.